If you're anything like me and you can't find your phone in your bag in between all your other stuff, then you might need a cute little phone bag. You can wear it around your neck or as a crossbody bag, or you can just keep it inside your big bag. So it's super easy to actually find those glasses, especially if you make it a vibrant, beautiful color. You can make it in any color so it fits your style and your personality. Even if it looks sleek and stylish, it's still super easy to make with just 6 seams. So it's perfect for beginners. And if you're more advanced, this is a super fun way to use your fabric scraps and get gifts for all your girlfriends. Best of all, these are made from clothes I no longer wear. This was from a top, more of a silk top for a wedding. This is actually from a table runner. Here's a dress. And this used to be a miniskirt. It's very Chanel-like. This one is from corduroy pants. This is from a top. I love the pattern, but the shape was totally unwearable. And this is actually from a sweater. This is my very first YouTube video. So I want to give you the pattern for free when you sign up for my Sewing and Redesign Love Letters, where you get amazing fashionable sewing tips and upcycling tips directly to your inbox. But first, watch the tutorial on how you actually sew it. That's coming up next.
Hi, I'm Stella. I help you turn outdated clothes into fresh new home and fashion luxuries. You'll get all my insider secrets from 5 years of fashion school and 20 years as a professional fashion designer and design teacher. Also, you can live a vibrant life surrounded by stunning and unique pieces that express your style and your creativity. You can leave your worries behind and get lost in the creative flow. And when your best friend comes to visit and says, "Oh my God, where'd you get that?" you'll be so proud to say, "I made it myself." Let's make one for you too. And best of all, you'll be saving Mother Nature.
Secret from turning clothes into bags is hidden inside. It's in the interfacing. Interfacing is the type of stiffening fabrics that you find inside collars and cuffs and everything that needs to be a bit more sturdy. For all of these bags, I used medium stiffness on the interfacing. That's the regular kind that you find in all fabric stores. But I also used foam like this, just a very, very thin one, for 2 of these. That makes them a bit more round and soft, but it also makes the bag a little bit smaller. So just be aware of that. So this bag is big enough for sunglasses and it's big enough for my phone, which is an iPhone 15. But if you want to make the bag bigger, you just take the pattern and you draw outside the lines. And for lots of sewing patterns, that's not going to work, but this one is made in a way that's going to fit perfectly. You can get super creative with a strap. The tutorial just shows you how to make a regular fabric strap, but of course you can use, this is the kind of rope that you find on curtains. And you can even take a necklace and ply it apart and use that as a chain. I have 2 different examples here. And of course the chain wasn't long enough for either one of them, so I just added some fabric straps at the end, and I think I just attached them by sewing by hand because that was much easier. But let's get into the step-by-step tutorial. It's pretty fast-paced, so you can just rush through it and see what you're going to do. And then when you start sewing, you can just start and stop the video. And there's also chapters, so you can easily just jump to the part that you want to take a look at. So we start by cutting the pattern, and you just need 3 sheets in A4 or US letter. And when you print, make sure that you set the printer to actual size of 100% and make sure that these squares here are the right size. Along the dotted line at the top of the pattern on page 2 from point C to D. Tape it exactly to point C and D at the bottom of page 1. Then you tape part E and F to part E and F on page 3. So here's the bag inside out, and you can see that the lining is made of 2 pieces. And this opening is here so that we can turn the bag the right way round when we have sewn the lining to the outside fabric. And if you want to stiffen up your bag, you can use this opening and add a stiff piece of plastic to the bag. And then you just sew it shut by hand afterwards. Note the size and placement of lining 1. Cut out a corresponding piece of lining fabric measuring 6.5 times 6 inches or 16.5 times 15 cm. Note the size and placement of lining 2. Cut out a corresponding piece of lining fabric measuring 16.5 times 11 inches or
16.5 times 27 cm. Then you can cut out the main pattern piece using paper scissors. Let's get the fabric and interfacing. Main pattern piece on top of the interfacing and secure it with weights or pins. Cut it out using fabric scissors. Place the interfacing with the glue side down on the back side of your main outside fabric. Use an iron to press the interfacing onto the fabric, following the temperature indicated on the interfacing. Be careful not to melt the fabric. Trim the fabric along the edge of the interfacing. Now let's attach the lining. Find your 2 pieces of lining fabric. Take lining 2 and fold it towards the back side, half an inch or 1.5 cm from the edge of one of the narrow sides. Place lining 2 on top of the main bag piece with the right sides facing each other. Align the fold with the line marked lining 2 placement. Place lining 1 on top of the main bag, allowing it to overlap the fold on lining 2 so it reaches the line marked lining 1 placement. Pin the lining to the main bag along the entire outer edge and avoid pulling the lining too tight. So all the way around, approximately 1/4 inch or 0.5 cm from the edge.
Trim the lining so it's the same size as the fabric and interfacing.
Trim the outer corners carefully without cutting the thread. Trim off a small triangle at the inner corners without cutting the thread. Turn the bag the right side out by pulling it through the opening in the lining. Smooth out the edges and pin them flat using pins without a plastic head. Press the bag with a steam iron. Remove the pins and press again. Depending on your fabric, you could decide to add top stitching, approximately 1/4 inch or 0.5 cm from the top and bottom edges.
Now it's time to add a button. If you use a magnet button, you need to attach it now. If you use the sew and press button, then it's better to wait until the bag is finished.
Now to add a magnet button. Mark the button placement on the pointy flap marked button A on the pattern. Cut a piece of interfacing measuring 1 by 1 inches or 2.5 times 2.5 cm and press it to the back side of the lining fabric where the button A should be placed. This is to reinforce the lining fabric. Attach the female part of the button at point A, then you attach the male part of the button where it's marked button B. You can use the seam ripper to carefully create a small opening for each button before attaching it. How to sew the side seams. Lay the bag flat with the outside facing up. Fold the bottom upwards so the bottom corners align with the top corners of the side seams. Pin all the way down the side seams of the bag. Sew a seam along each side approximately 3/8 inch or 1 cm from the edge.
You can easily figure out the length of your strap by just pinning a ribbon to it and trying it on.
Here's how to make a thin strap from fabric. Cut out a piece of sturdy but thin fabric measuring 2 times 41 inches or 5 times 105 cm. You can mark the measurements directly on the fabric.
Here you can see how I sewed several pieces together to get the strap long enough.
Use the iron to press all 4 sides of the fabric inwards by 3/8 inches or 1 cm. Try to create a crisp edge. Fold the fabric in half to form a long slim piece. Pin it in place using metal pins without a plastic head. Press with the iron. Finally, sew along the 3 open edges, stitching about 1/8 inch or 0.3 cm from the edge. Press again. To secure the strap to the bag, you have 2 options. Option 1 is to insert the strap into the side seams. Option B is to insert D-rings into the side seams and fasten the strap with carabiner hooks. Whatever you decide, you start by using a seam ripper to make an opening in each of the side seams, half an inch or 1.2 cm from the top. Place the ends of the strap into the openings, ensuring it's not twisted and that it emerges on the outside of the bag. Sew the top of the side seam 2 to 3 times to attach and reinforce the strap.
And if you use a chain or a D-ring, then you just attach that to a little piece of strap and then you attach that strap inside the side seam.
Now you can turn the bag the right side out and the bag is completed. However, if you want to make it more structured and stiff, then you can insert a stiff piece of plastic in the back. Measure the back of your bag and cut a thin, stiff piece of plastic in the same size. Put it through the opening in a lining and sew the opening shut by hand.
This is my very first YouTube video, but I've got lots of exciting new videos almost ready. I've got lots of bags and cozy and chic cushions that you can make. So subscribe to the channel, but if you reach me in the future, I guess these videos are already uploaded, so you can watch them right here and go make your own delicious little luxuries.